33 creatures found in ancient cave system. What sorts of secrets hide in yet undiscovered underground cave systems? If a cave were to be sealed from any outside interference for millions of years, what would lie inside? Due to a discovery in Romania in 1986, we have an idea of just that, and it's a great insight into the kind of adaptations life makes in order to survive. The Movil Cave is a cave near Mangalia, Constanța County, Romania. For the past 5.5 million years, the cave system has been cut off from the outside world, cutting off fresh air from ventilating through the caves, slowly creating a perfectly sealed capsule full of toxic gases. And yet, despite the inhospitable conditions for human life, an entire ecosystem has been thriving in the Movil Cave for millions of years. The ecosystem is based around chemosynthesis rather than photosynthesis due to the specific atmospheric conditions in the cave. Remarkably, 33 new species were found living in the Movil Cave. While a total of 48 species were found in the cave system, the 33 newly discovered species were examples that are not found anywhere else on Earth, meaning they only exist in the specific conditions of the Movil Cave. Amazingly, these species have been developing in the cave system, totally isolated from the outside world, for longer than humans have existed. The kinds of animals that were found in the cave included small creatures such as worms and shrimp. There were also plenty of bigger creatures like scorpions, spiders, and invertebrates. This range of different-sized species means that the cave was able to be self-sufficient, with a food chain that is perfectly balanced and feeds back into itself. Being cut off from any natural sunlight, the cave system is pitch black. Because of this, the cave's unique ecosystem has evolved to traverse and survive in total blackness. Likewise, because of the toxic air that permeates the entire Movil system, all of the species in the cave are examples of chemosynthetic beings, meaning that they take the toxic gas and convert it into energy. All of the creatures in the cave are light in pigment and have no vision. With long antennae and limbs, the species in the cave use their extended bodily characteristics to feel across the cave floor to allow them to hunt and survive. The Movil Cave is a great example of how different factors can affect evolution over time. Specifically, the unique species illustrate how sunlight and the elements in our atmosphere have affected our evolutionary journey. It's not known exactly how the unique ecosystem came into place. A microbiologist from the University of East Anglia said, "It's very likely that the bacteria have been there a lot longer than 5 million years, but that the insects became trapped there around that time. They could have simply fallen in and became trapped when the limestone cast dropped, sealing the cave until it was discovered again in 1986. Photos reveal giant Easter Island Maui statues are covered in mysterious symbols. One of the most interesting things about Easter Island is the Maui statues. The country is most famous for these unusual statues that were said to be created by the Rapa Nui people. They were made from volcanic rock and resemble human faces. Most also have bodies that were sculpted, but the bodies were underground and therefore not visible until excavated. A recent discovery in 2012 unearthed a mysterious revelation related to the Maui statues. The bodies attached to the large heads of the statues have distinctive symbols and designs which were originally thought to be tattoos. The depictions were only discovered upon withdrawing the statues and discovering them on the back of the statues' bodies. Experts were confused as to why the bodies were decorated when they were kept underground for no one to see. Were they buried underground on purpose, or did they slowly sink over time? This led to other questions regarding the Maui statues and their varying features. Some face the sea, whilst others face inland. Some have heavy red stone hats and others don't. How were they able to move such heavy stones around the island without modern-day machinery? Researchers continue to investigate and seek answers to these questions, but some just don't add up. Looking back to the strange markings on the bodies of the statues, it still remains unclear as to what they mean. Some designs depicted crescent shapes which are believed to represent canoes, but no one can be too sure. Academics have suggested that the figures could represent ancestors of figures that were high up in the tribe. Another theory suggests that the stones were dug up from quarries on the island, decorated at the quarry site, and then walked over to the different spots throughout the island. They are believed to be set up around the island to act as guardians that would protect the inhabitants from any danger. After further investigation and looking at other reasons behind the markings, it could have something to do with past farming methods. People believe that the statues could have been sculpted when digging deep within the quarry in order to find the most fertile soil. The statues themselves may have been kept as a symbol of food production, but there are no definitive answers. Could the writing be linked to this hypothesis? Although we may not ever know what the markings on the statues are, how they got there, and why the statues were placed in certain ways, experts are continuously working to uncover an explanation. The Library of Celsus. Hailing from the ancient Roman city of Ephesus, the Library of Celsus was the third largest library in the Roman world. It trailed only behind those of Alexandria and Pergamum. The library held as many as 12,000 scrolls inside of its marble walls. Ephesus, which was located on the coast of Turkey, had always been a bustling harbour town. Also home to the Temple of Artemis, the city only grew in size and importance over time. A great Roman city would undoubtedly have many perks, and the great public library was only one of them. Initially commissioned by Tiberius Julius Aquila, the library was intended to honour his father, Tiberius Julius Celsus Parmenius. Celsus was a powerful man, having both a successful military and political career. He was a commander in the Roman army and was later elected as a consul in Rome. A consul was the highest elected official in Rome. After this, he became governor of the area now known as Turkey. The library was not completed until after Aquila's death. However, there are records that state Celsus left 25,000 denarii to purchase the texts for the library. The library was essentially a large reading room, with many nooks housing book rolls made of papyrus. It is estimated the library could have held up to 16,000 of these scrolls. The marble sarcophagus of Celsus lies beneath the library. All 12,000 scrolls, along with the library, were destroyed by fire in 262 AD. Causes may have been an earthquake or a Gothic invasion, as both events happened this year in Ephesus. The library was nothing but ruins for many centuries. Finally, in the 1970s, the facade of the library was reconstructed as a memory of the lost knowledge. Seamless Robe of Jesus, the Holy Coat. The seamless robe of Jesus, also known as the Holy Coat or the Holy Tunic, is believed to be a coat that was worn by Jesus at the time of his crucifixion or immediately before it. The coat has been mentioned in the Bible, and it is described as a coat without a seam, woven whole from the top down. According to the Bible, the soldiers who crucified Jesus divided his clothing amongst themselves. As the coat was made from one seam, they decided not to tear it and cast lots to decide who would get the coat. According to popular belief, the coat was discovered by Helena, who was the mother of Constantine the Great. It is believed that around 327 AD, she found a number of relics associated to Jesus in the Holy Land. The seamless coat was one of the precious ancient artifacts that she found. Upon finding the coat, she sent it to the city of Trier. Her son Constantine was living there before he became the emperor. However, the robe first appears in historical records during the 12th century. The historical records show that on May 1st, 1196, Johann I was the Archbishop of Trier at the time, consecrated the seamless robe. Despite many attempts, historians have not been able to trace the seamless robe before May 1st, 1196. After years of research, many historians have concluded that it is now impossible to track its historical path before it arrived at Trier Cathedral. Historians believe that the seamless robe has gone through some restoration and preservation work in the past. Therefore, it would now be very difficult to determine its authenticity.
No scientific examination of the seamless robe has ever been completed. However, the seamless robe has been declared an authentic artifact belonging to Jesus by Therese Neumann, who was a renowned German Catholic mystic and stigmatist.
Transcripts from the trial of the Knights Templar. The Knights Templar are legend, with this secret organisation of monks and knights achieving almost mythical status despite their very real achievements. What is not as well known, however, is the huge fall from grace these ancient heroes suffered from a royal trial rather than a bloody battle being their downfall. However, a medievalist at the Vatican Secret Archives stumbled upon a compilation of intriguing documents dating from 1307 to 1312 on the French trial of the Knights Templar and the Vatican's response. The Knights Templar's roots go back to the early 12th century, where a French nobleman and his companions dedicated themselves to the protection of Christians on pilgrimage to Jerusalem. In this noble pursuit, these so-called knights adopted vows of obedience, poverty, and chastity, but in the defense of Christ's followers permitted themselves war. Merging both the actions of the clergy with the actions of the soldier had never been done before, and so the legend of the monk knight was born. Whilst their quest was not a cheap one and always required a vast sum of expense, the Templars' main problem with the amount of money they had coming in was a tremendous amount of people also trusting them with their money, as if the knights were a 12th century bank deposit. With their extensive network and wealth of riches, they soon began to attract the wrong kind of attention, and in 1307, King Philip IV of France had the Knights Templar arrested and brought to trial. For 7 years, the knights would be tortured, humiliated, and lacerated until they made their forced confessions amid desperate physical pain. The Templars were found guilty of treason against Christianity. The order was dissolved, its remaining members seized, and wealth and property confiscated. In the end, the Templars' enigmatic leader, Jacques de Molay, was burned at the stake. And whilst the accusations began in France, rulers all over Europe followed suit and completely surpassed the order. Today, however, the Knights' tainted history is under investigation, since the document found in the Vatican's secret archives might clear their name and allegations of heresy. Experts believe the Knights Templar will be partly rehabilitated by these documents. It seems like Pope Clement V absolved the Templars of heresy, which had been the backbone of the case against them. Indeed, whilst the Pope was convinced the Templars had committed some grave sins, they were not heretics. They were also said to have practiced sodomy, a true sin at that time. It has not been proven either way, but even if true, this was merely a minor sin rather than anything truly heretical. Documents like these will go some way to adding more life to the legends of the Knights Templar. However, it's still difficult today to get access to the full catalogue of the Vatican archives. Naturally, you come to wonder just how many documents have been censored by the Catholic Church or misplaced in this sea of ancient papers, and if they have been censored, why?